sometimes you start off the week and you wonder what's going to happen this week, and you can never really predict it in the business that I'm in, which is the business of public service. Baruch Hashem, issues come up, different challenges, and you deal with it as you can. This week we had a lot of interesting, different situations this week. The first that we're going to start off with, because many people have been asking us about it and we want just to get as much information as we have out about this, is the question of a possible knockout attack that happened in Borough Park. Let's go through the facts as we have them, and then let's go from there. An individual who was visiting from London came to Borough Park and went to a chasna. He went to a wedding. He went to a wedding at the Palace, which is a very well-known wedding hall. He left at approximately 2 a.m. He says that after he left, he was walking back towards a relative's home in Borough Park. He was given instructions on exactly how to walk back. While he was walking back home at approximately the intersection of 18th Avenue and Day Hill Road. Those of you who are not familiar, it's down the block from Mendelssohn's. It's the corner of Videorama. It is across from a leasing company, which is a leasing island. He believes that at that intersection, he was attacked from behind by two individuals. He comes home. He sees a relative of his. This is his relative's home. This is close to 3 o'clock in the morning, and the relative is shocked. And folks, if you've seen the pictures online, you can see them on jpupdates.com. They've actually posted it. You will see this individual was very severely injured. He lost 2 teeth. He got 5 stitches. He was very, very severely injured. When he came back, he was taken to the hospital. The police was called. And he said that he believed that he was, in fact, attacked by 2 individuals. That's the story. From here, things, as they tend to do, media, press, politicians, everybody gets involved. And so yesterday, last night, let me continue. We find out about it the following morning. We call the police. The police tell us they will look into it. The police confirm later that day, on Tuesday, that this is, in fact, a likely assault and a possible bias crime, and so they send it over to hate crimes. I want to tell you, by the way, and we're really fortunate, because the police department in New York is top-notch, and the 66th Police Department is really top-notch, and especially Inspector Detto. He plays everything by the book. He's a straight shooter. As soon as he found out, he was concerned. He sent it directly to hate crimes. And we're lucky because in New York City, we've got the greatest hate crimes unit, really, in the country. They're really focused on this. Hate crime comes in, they do an investigation. They come in, they start talking to him. They say, well, what do you think were the description of these people? So he gives them a certain description, and he's not really sure if the description that he gave was accurate. I mean, after all, the guy believes that he was just knocked down, obviously, and so he's not sure that the description was accurate. And they said, are you sure that's the description? Maybe it could have been a different description. He says, I don't know, I'll think about it. The next day, while he's trying to sleep that night, he realizes and he thinks to himself, well, maybe I didn't give the accurate description. And just to be clear, this is an Erlich guy. This is a Heimische guy, a firm guy, a guy who's in his 60s. He lives in London. He's a very well-respected businessman. He's a family man. He has an incredible reputation. This is not somebody who, and you know, one of his relatives said, I've known him for 25 years. I've never known anything like this before, right? So this is not someone who's making things up, certainly not someone who would say anything false. This is what he believes will happen. He speaks to the police and he thinks to himself, and he says, well, maybe I didn't give the exact accurate description. And so what he does is on his own, he calls the police detective and he tells the police detective, hey, I may not have given you an exact accurate description. I want you to come on over here. So the police detective comes by, they sit there, they have a conversation, and he tells him, and he says, listen, he says, it's possible that I did not recall things the way I thought I recall. I don't know. I got hit. I fell down. I have serious injuries. And it makes sense, by the way, folks, if someone, in fact, was attacked, or even if they fell down and had serious injuries, although the injuries were very severe, quite frankly, that individual certainly may not know exactly what happened to him, right? Especially if that attack came from behind. And so he tells this to them. He tells this to the police. The police then write this up in the report. They ask him to sign it. And he thinks everything is fine at this point. He goes back to London. And then today, and really last night, unfortunately, news broke. Oh, my gosh, this guy, he's lying. He's not telling the truth. He fabricated the story. CBS did a whole report where they specifically said that he was lying. And what's incredible is that nobody even bothered. I mean, this is just amazing. Nobody even bothered to reach out to the victim or his family. Well, we did. We immediately reached out to the victim's family, and in fact, I spoke to the victim today, and the victim was very upset. He was very upset. He called me from London because and he had my cell phone number. He called me from London. He was upset, and he said, I don't understand what's happening over here. And I'll tell you, folks, this. I spoke to the captain who's leading up the investigation in hate crimes. He himself told me that the one thing he's sure about is the victim is not lying. Maybe the victim wasn't sure about what happened. Maybe there was some misunderstanding. Maybe the blow caused something to happen. He was disoriented. He's certainly not lying. Nobody in the world believes that this was an intentional thing where the victim would make something up. That's ridiculous, and quite frankly, it's offensive, and I'm really offended that people are out there perpetuating this, and we'll discuss some of those folks in a second. But nobody believes that. Not the detective, not the captain, nobody. And so I spoke to the victim, and the victim was really, really upset. And we spoke about it, and he put together a statement. And he asked me to read this statement on the air. And that's what I'm doing here tonight. And this is a statement directly from the victim, just to be clear. We didn't write the statement. The victim wrote the statement. He sent it to us. We're reading the statement from the victim from London. And here is the statement. Quote, I was returning from a wedding at about 2 a.m. on Monday night and am convinced that I was attacked from the back and pushed to the floor face down. However, after extensive interrogations by the police, I recognize that there is a possibility that due to the shock of the incident and my injuries, I was confused and disoriented, and it may be that I tripped in the dark and hurt my face when falling down. I am distraught by the statement which was publicized by CBS today suggesting that I was lying. This is a libelous statement which damages both my own and my family's reputation, and I have already informed CBS I intend to sue them for defamation unless I am convinced that my name and reputation are restored, which CBS assured me would be the case. As for the police, the detective assured me that his report doesn't suggest anything other than that I was absolutely truthful and helpful in their investigation, end quote. Folks, that's it. There you have it, directly from the victim. That's what he's saying. What he's saying over here is very simple, which is he believes that he was knocked down from behind. He's not sure. He can't be sure, quite frankly. The reason that he cannot be sure is because he was a victim who may or may have not been knocked down. He certainly didn't do anything that was dishonest. He certainly did not lie to anyone, especially not the police, and I confirm that independently from the police. Now, the obvious question people ask is, what about videotape? Well, the one videotape that has been out there and is also posted on JP Update appears to be inconclusive. It's not clear and doesn't actually show him falling down. The police have told me that they have another videotape. They've reviewed this videotape, but it's very grainy, and it's not very clear. And they're not sure that it's the victim, but it may be his. And in fact, we are working to send the police this other videotape as well so they can compare it and they can be certain. And from that videotape, it appears that he may have in fact fallen down. But they can't be sure because it's a very unclear videotape, and the angle apparently, from what I'm told from the police, is not that large. So the answer right now is that it's inconclusive. We don't know. Here's a guy who, quite frankly, was trying to do the honest thing and the right thing, and by being honest, he said, well, you know what? Maybe I misremembered. Maybe I was disoriented. Something happened to me. And the worst part about it, and the chutzpah really is that people are out there attacking him. I had people call my office today. We should have this guy arrested. What are you, crazy? What is wrong with you people? What do you mean? This is a guy who honestly believes that he got hurt. No, I just want to tell you something. You know, I'm very proud. I've been an elected official for 4 years, right? Not 40 years like some other people, but 4 years. And I'm very proud that I have a mantra. Everybody in my office knows this, which is we fight for the little guy. This is a little guy. This is a tourist. This is a guy who has no connections, no protection, nothing in New York. He had an issue. We spoke to the family. We verified the information. We're fighting for him. And isn't that really what you would want from your local elected official, somebody that would fight for the individual, someone who's not beholden to the establishment? That's what we do. We fight for the individual. This individual, we found out about it. We made the inquiries. We spoke to the victim. We believe that he honestly believes that this happened. And I want to just be clear, by the way. It's not like, some people are saying, oh, it's scandalous. He didn't accuse any specific people. He didn't say that guy did it and that guy did it and, oh, my gosh, they're arresting him. He said he thinks that this is what happened to him. That's the job of the NYPD. They investigate these things. The NYPD right now in their investigation doesn't see the proof that he got attacked. That doesn't mean, and he told me this, that he didn't get attacked. And they're certainly going to look at other videos as well. And by the way, honestly, the best result here would be that he didn't get attacked. Because who wants to think that there are people out there attacking people? And we know that it has happened before. This is not hypothetical. People do attack Jewish people walking down the street. It's happened. We had a guy who engaged in the knockout game, and his excuse was, they looked at me funny. They looked at me funny, and all of his victims were Jewish. Please, this thing happens. It is our job to fight on their behalf. And that's why I have to tell you, I was very disappointed. And, I don't usually discuss this in the internal politics, and I'm an elected official, and Baruch Hashem, I'm privileged. But we say every Shabbos, Kol mi she'osek v'tzarech yitzibur be'emunah HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishalom schram. I always tell people the key word over there is be'emunah, in faith. All who work for the community in good faith, God will repay them, and that's what I believe. You have to have good faith. I do this business in good faith. I help people in good faith. I make a good faith effort. And I was shocked. I really was shocked and so disappointed. And, it's so unfortunate, the sinas chinam that we have today, that another elected official, another so-called from elected official, decided today to issue a press release. Can you imagine? Issue a press release today, not only attacking the victim, but attacking us as well. And in fact, the headline of the press release is, false reporting, a dangerous habit, says this elected official. False reporting? There was no false reporting. This person gave an honest report with the information that they have. A dangerous habit? The implication that somehow this individual is a habitual liar? That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then the elected official goes on to take a pot shot at me and says, we do our homework versus we did in this case. We did our homework. The police told us that it wasn't a knockout attack. Let me tell you something, by the way, folks. The police usually don't think it's a knockout attack. It takes time to investigate until they come to the conclusion that it is a knockout attack. And it's so shocking, because when you talk about investigations, I don't know how other elected officials can investigate. And here's the crazy thing. The victim tells me the other elected official never even spoke to him. So what kind of investigation exactly did this other elected official do that this other elected official decides to attack another from elected official who's trying to do his job to fight for the community? And once again, folks, this stuff happens behind the scenes. I usually never discuss it, but I'm really, really outraged today. Here I am. I work hard. I work from early morning to late at night, and other people who have nothing better to do and have nothing positive to add to the conversation, all they do is they take pot shots at you. Well, I certainly expect it from somebody who's not from the community or from the press, but from another from elected official in the community to take a pot shot at me, to attack me and say, oh, what are you doing? What am I doing? I'm doing my job. That's what I'm doing. My job is to represent and to advocate on behalf of my constituents, and yes, Jews at large. And if a Jew comes into my community, even if they're not a registered voter, if anyone comes into my community, and by the way, we had this in fact with the victims of Sandy. They weren't Jewish and they weren't from my community, and they came into my community. You know what I did? I helped them, and we got them food and we got them clothing and shelter, because that's what we do. And if someone comes into my community as a tourist and they feel like they get attacked, well, I'll tell you what, other elected officials, I'm going to fight for them. And shame on you for criticizing me, and shame on you for creating machlokes, and shame on you for sinas chinam, and shame on you for criticizing a victim, and because he is a victim. Whether he slipped and fell because he had a personal or medical or other condition and he hurt himself, or whether someone else knocked him out, he's still a victim. And to say that he was engaged in false reporting and these are dangerous habits, and to stir up this kind of sinas chinam, and let's talk about the kind of sinas chinam. You have once again our favorite blog, the Gothamists. The Gothamist says knockout attacked him. Victim actually just fell down. Well, look at the comments that the Gothamist makes. Listen to this. Pumpkin Ruppert says, wow, if you can't trust a chassid, who can you trust? What is this world coming to? And then Me First said, chassids are a bunch of self-serving liars anyway. Great, great. So it's not bad enough that we have people out there who hate our community. We need our own elected officials to criticize us and criticize elected officials. Really outrageous. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is this guy came to the community. He believed that he was knocked out. He still thinks he was knocked out. but he's not 100% sure. I'm not sure that anybody can ever be 100% sure after being a victim of a knockout. Baruch Hashem, I've never been a victim, and quite frankly, it is something that nobody should ever experience, but certainly it would disorient them. And because he wasn't sure, he was honest with the police. And the police appreciated the honesty, and they certainly have no intention of prosecuting him in any way. That's ridiculous, because he was being honest and he was doing the right thing. And that's why we should stand behind him. And I hope the whole community would join me in standing behind him. We don't know exactly what happened, but we know this person got hurt, and this person believes he was a victim, and so we're working together with the police to sort it out. And I trust the police. The police has not made any official statement on this behalf. They're still looking into it. They're still going to look into the videos. They're still going to make their decisions. And we trust them, and we trust they will come to the right conclusion. And if, in fact, they conclude in the end that there is no evidence, well, then the answer is there's no evidence. It means we don't know what happened. And if they conclude definitively that it didn't happen, well, that's good news. But it is still my obligation as the community's elected official to fight for the community. And that's exactly what I did. Folks, talking about fighting for the community, we have with us